Hello, hello, my stitchy friends. Welcome back. My name is Laura. You found Laladi Stitches, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. I have, apparently to get my brain in order. Hi, baby girl. Okay, today's episode is a floss tube extra. It is the start of January 2025, and we're gonna do a WIP Parade. It's always a bit of an extravaganza. I am a stitcher who carries a lot of WIPs at all times, especially since I started floss tubing. I feel like my stash has grown exponentially. But that's wonderful and fun, and I'm grateful to have wonderful projects to play with and work on and share with you today. So I have a rather large stack back here. And sorry if the shawl becomes a problem, I'll take it off. But it's quite cold. So settle in, grab some tea, some coffee, some juice, whatever libation strikes your fancy, and maybe some stitching. I know I've been watching WIP Parades, which have been such fun. I found a couple new people, watched the oldie goodies, and I'll link who I've watched so far in the description box below, because that's fun. Anyways, but I've been doing it while I typically watch floss tube while I quilt. And then I will either listen to a book on tape or watch documentaries while I cross stitch. So anyways, but whatever you like to do while you watch WIP Parades, settle in, because it's gonna be a big one. Last year I wound up splitting it into 2 episodes, and that worked out pretty well. We'll just see how long I jabber. The longer the video is, the longer it takes to upload. So that was an advantage to splitting it last year on my side of things. It was a little bit less involved to get it out to you guys. So anyways, speaking of you guys, I've been doing floss tubes for about 2 years. Well, 2 years, just over 2 years. And I just want to say, in the last 5 seconds, because I've been talking for 10 minutes already and not even shown you a stitch. But thank you so much for being here with me, and for watching my stitching adventures and my ramblings, and just being stitchy friends. I appreciate you and your being here. So yeah. Let's do it. We're gonna start. They're kind of clumped by what bucket. I have these, I'm pointing at the wrong spot there in the camera, off to my right. The cube shelves, which I call them buckets, and I have buckets full of projects, and I kind of organize them by theme or season or style of project. And when I did kind of a rudimentary press I feel like this is a good opportunity to kind of get those hard creases out, especially since, as you'll see, my typical turnaround on a project is at least 2 years. Again, seasonal stitcher, right? Like, I'm only pulling it out so much during the year. But here's our first one. Anyways, so there is some grouping happening, but it's not intentional or really organized. So we're starting with Christmas, which seems like a good place since I haven't done a video since the middle of December. So this will be a great place for people who watch regularly to see what I did get done in December. And then if you're new, it's all new to you, right? So it'll be exciting. So the first one is epic. It's gonna be a 20-year project. It's so big, it's so gorgeous. Santa's List, especially where I'm seasonal stitcher, Comes out of 101 Best Loved Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts book. I found this on, well, I saw it in a floss tube and then hunted it down, and I'm pretty sure I got it off of Amazon. But it's a really great book. You can kind of see some of the other projects in there. And anyway, super fun, really cute. And this is the one I started in 2023 as part of a Santa stitch along with my friend. So first, where did my, no, oh, it's right in front of me. It's fine. Okay. So this is where we are. I don't have before pictures because there's just a lot of projects, and I didn't, ooh, I have a hanging thread. I didn't even work on everything this year. So I'll kind of let you know what I worked on, what I didn't work on, and try to explain what I did as we go. Okay, so I came in this year and finalized the holly leaves that I had started. They were just kind of amorphous blobs before that. But there's some back stitching and, you know, 3/4 stitches that really define the shapes. In fact, you can tell, I guess I didn't do all of them. I started doing that. So these ones, you can tell they are, that's their final shape. And these ones, like this one, for instance, is still pretty nothing. But you really give it a lot of shape in those extra little stitches and back stitches and stuff. So I did that this year, and then I added this candlelight glow and all of this. So I feel really good about the stitching that I did. I had hoped to get a little bit more done, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. Life is always busy at the holidays, right? And we had family in town, and so it was just extra joyful and busy. So that's really fun. This is it being stitched. I should tell you the fabric, which I do have the information on here. It is 28 count antique ivory linen, and it'll be pretty good. I think, I want to say I've got another few inches before I can square off. It's not going to be the full length of this fabric, thankfully. Big as it is. Anyways, very pleasant stitching. I like this. See, this is already not going to work. It's okay. It was worth a shot. It was warm and cozy for a few minutes. Anyways, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by myself. Okay. So, real quick interruption. I am so sorry that this is like the longest entry into a WIP Parade ever. But as we go, I'm going to make a couple stacks. So I'm going to do just like a general, I call them my Gen Pop projects. It'll just go back into Gen Pop, which is basically like, it was fun to see it, kind of good to get a little reminder of it, but I'm not thinking anything special about it right this moment. And then I saw on Just Keep Stitching, Pam and Steph, they did, after they did their WIP Parade, Pam created a BS wheel. So it's a barely started wheel of projects to rotate and try to get some more stitches on these things that you start, because if you do anything like Mania or you know, joining stitch alongs and stuff, it's so much fun, but oftentimes you start it and then it kind of gets tucked away and forgotten unless you get obsessed. I mean, and I say you meaning me. And so I would like to make a BS stack and create my own wheel and pull out, just spin it once a week and work on one once a week this year. I think that would be really fun. And then I also want to create a second wheel for borders. So anything, I feel like projects with borders, like the Hawk Run Hollow series, A lot of the calendar sales will have little boxes and stuff. And if those were established, it would be a lot easier to pick it up more casually when the mood strikes and make some progress rather than, oh, well, I'd have to do all this counting and, you know, do all the boring stuff. But the boring stuff can be really relaxing. So I figure if I find a day where I am not drawn to any of my selected projects for the month, then I could spin the border wheel and just stitch borders. And that might be a way to kind of, yeah, make progress and get more established on those. So I want a BS wheel, a borders wheel, and then I'm going to pull out I'm going to make a stack of projects that I think I could finish in 2025. So that's the idea as we go. Sorry to interrupt again. Okay. This was a new start in December. Blackbird Designs, Feliz Navidad. I am doing my own, I just pulled from Stash, color conversion, and I would say I replaced at least 70% of the colors. I did kind of a mush of the colors you see on the front, so the reproduced sampler and the original reproduction sampler. Did I say that right? Antique sampler, excuse me. So the reproduction versus the antique, I kind of played with both of those color palettes and pulled from my stash. And this is my start. It was delightful. I really enjoyed stitching on this. Again, in the 2 weeks of the month, I actually stitched on Christmas stuff. But it's fun. It's going to be such a fun mix of like the truly traditional, deep, rich colors and some brighter pops, kind of modern pizzazz. Not that the original didn't have modern pizzazz. Like that red in person is quite bright. It's fabulous. I love it. So it's a little bit more tomatoey than like a burgundy. And okay, I don't know what I was gonna say there. Okay, so that was really fun. I enjoyed that. I stitched that on fabric I didn't write the name down on, but I know it's a Picture This Plus. I'm fairly confident it's a 28 count, and I would guess it is either Heritage or Sand, just to keep things moving. Sorry I didn't have that information. The next one I worked on was Shannon Designs, Sugar Plum Village. I love this project. It's a couple years old. I started it last year. Well, I guess it's a year old. Where did my card? I know I kept out. Okay, here we go. I'm stitching it on 36 count Picture This Plus Meditation, which is the loveliest, gentle, airy, periwinkle, icy blue. Well, it shows pretty good. This might be a good setup. So what did I do? I added in the hearts and basically this corner of stitching this year. Not a lot, but I think it just got a couple of nights. It's delightful. It's not going to be very big. I'm going to have a scrap. Oh, it's so cute. Oh my goodness, I'm falling everywhere. But it's delightful. I'm stitching a 2/2, I believe. Yes. And I did run into a small hiccup when I started adding the white. I just wanted to make sure I felt like I could see it well enough before I stitched more, because that's really the next color that I'll be stitching. And so I just laid it on my table and let it sit there for a few days. And as I walked by it, I decided that yes, the snowflakes do show. They ghost a little bit in the video, but in person they show nicely. So, so that's a fun one. That's a really fun one. It makes me want to watch the Nutcracker. I don't know. Okay, this is an older one. I will have to pop in pictures on a couple of these because I don't have cover pictures. This was in my early Etsy shopping days, and I did not realize that it was probably a pirated copy. But I'm gonna finish it because I love it, and I have it over half stitched. So the original, it was originally a sunset cross stitch kit that is now out of print, called Winter on Main Street. And this is where I am with it. And I started it in 2020. Oh my goodness, dog hair. It looks like Buddy's dog hair. Anyways, I'm just stitching on a white Lugana, or even weave. And I have not done any of the back stitching yet, which is the magic sauce on these projects. It's a very peaceful scene. I really do like it. I haven't worked on it in a couple of years just because once I discovered that it was kind of a illegitimate copy of a pattern, I struggled with a lot of guilt, honestly. Like, I felt really bad about it. But I don't know, you do the best you can with the knowledge you have, and I haven't done it again since then, so, right, we live and learn. And I would like to pull it out again and work on it because it really is pretty, so. Okay, ink circles, Seas and Greetings. This was a Jingle Ball exclusive last year, so 2023. I need to remember it's 2025 now, so that's like two. Anyways, in 2023, Jingle Ball, this was a pattern. I actually bought it as a kit, so I got all of the fabric and floss, and I didn't start it. I waited, and because I was starting other things. And so this last July, for Jolly July, I pulled it out and I gave it a BS, a very, very tiny start. Isn't this Ada gorgeous? What is this Ada? It's the called for. See if I can find out what that's called, because it really is beautiful. Anyways, this is gonna go in the BS pile. It is Enchanted by Mystic. I think it said Mystic Fabrics. It's funny, I read it and then I was like, in and out. Anyways, it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful fabric. And I love what sold me on this was all these little pirate gnomes and the narwhals with like Christmas wreaths. They're throwing Christmas wreaths onto the narwhals. Delightful. So I did not work on that at all. Oh, that goes into a different stack. Ugh. BS. Barely started. Okay. This one I didn't get to this year, so I didn't get any stitches. I started it in 2023. I was deep into the love of traditional Santas in 2023. So I started quite the handful. I want to say it was like 4 or 5 Santas that December, and that was so much fun. But because of that, they have smaller starts, and because I didn't do a lot of stitching this December, they didn't get a lot of attention. So this is the start. I think that's the right direction. Nope. Try again. That's the start. So this is the bottom edge of his jacket, and then one of it's his drum. Yeah. So that's that. Christmas Journey, Book 8 Holiday Heirlooms leaflet. I was gifted this by Luann, who, after I started talking about, you know, the historic Santas, kind of vintage traditional Santas, she sent me the pattern in. Thank you. I will get to it. I promise. Okay. Oh, that's a good girl. All right. You can kind of see not only my stack, but behind the stack is my cute little girl. in her cozy spot. Good thing about, so we rearranged my room. People who are old friends will recognize that things are different now. But I think it's going to be a good change. It's just taking a bit of adjustment. But now she has her cozy bed a little closer to where I spend more time, and I think she likes that. Okay, this next one, oh, I messed up the angle here, is Wishing Thee Merriness by Cinnamon Stick Christmas, Homespun Elegance. That's the designer, Homespun Elegance. He's very neat. I love the tin soldier in the bag. I think that's cute. This has a good start on it. This was again 2023, part of those Santas. I was doing a color conversion from Stash. And it's just on some kind of mystery raw linen that needs to be edged, apparently. Shame, shame. Did not work on that this year. Actually, I don't know that I got to any of my Santas. Did I work on this one? I love this one. This is Gift of Peace by Lavender Lace. He is so elegant. I did work on this. I swear I did. Yes, I did. I did. Because I finished the ribbon and this arch. Like, this whole arch is done. So I filled in that. And then I came down into a sleeve. And then I also did the little dove. So I totally worked on this year. I'm stitching this on 32 count driftwood from Fabrics by Steph. It is gorgeous. And he is gorgeous. Oh, beautiful. I also have the companion Santa, which I don't remember what his name is right now, but I had the other half of this piece of fabric still in stash. So I will be, when I finish this one, I'll start the other one on matching fabric, and they will be a companion set. Ooh, I love them. I would love to find an oval frame to hang them in too. That would be really pretty. Someday, big dreams. Okay, this was a new start this year. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Ignore that. Farmhouse Christmas series. It's a set of 9 patterns. I'll pop up a picture here of what that all looks like. I am going to do the additional border, which can be found on the Little House Needleworks website, but I am by no means close to that because that's my start. I thought I would get the center block completed this year, and that just didn't happen. But that's okay. I'm stitching it on a 28 count, I think. 32 count. Vintage Country Mocha linen, and I think it will give a nice warm energy to these little Christmas scenes. They're really so cute, but I love this center quilt block. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, got to keep moving. I tend to linger and love looking at my projects. I need to be focused, keep it moving, especially since I rambled at you guys for the first 10 minutes of the video. I hope I didn't lose y'all. Okay, this beautiful start is, I'll pop a picture here. Maybe that'll be a little reminder for myself as I'm editing. This was a Christmas themed stitch along from Satsuma Street a number of years ago, which I did a pathetic start on, but it's darling and it's pretty much full coverage. I'm stitching it on this really loose linen. I want to say it's just a Charles Craft, like 25 count or something like that. So it's big. I probably should have stitched with 3 strands instead of 2 just to get better coverage, since it is so big, but from a distance you don't see that, and I'll just make sure that I I back it before I turn it into the pillow it might one day be. If I ever get past the borders. So this will go in my border stack. See, this is good. This is productive. As well as fun. I'm having fun. I don't know. We haven't even gotten to the news. Here's my card. You guys. Okay. Another Satsuma Street Deck the Halls is so pretty. I would love to have this done, you know, sometime in the next couple of years so that it can hang in my sewing room, my studio, excuse me, while it's holiday season. I definitely have a brighter palette in this room than I do in pretty much the rest of the house. This is where I am. I'm stitching it on a 32 count raw linen, natural raw linen from Zweigart, which is gorgeous. I actually really like it. I would buy more for stash, but it really makes the colors pop, and yeah, there you go. Even though the clouds have taken the sunlight, I started this, you know what? I don't even know when I started this. It's been a few years. I didn't work on it this year. I wound up getting into the holiday stitching and picking like 3 or 4 instead of my normally I pick 10 projects a month and I do a 3-day rotation on them at this point. That's kind of become my go-to. And it's great because you make good progress. They get a good amount of time, but you're also getting a large variety of projects. And things got so busy, October, November, December. Life was just stressful, and it just felt better to work on fewer. And I wasn't getting stitches in every day. So, you know, it just worked out well, but it definitely made it so I didn't even touch half of my Christmas projects, which is a shame because they're fun. You don't need to see this card. Why am I doing that? I'll pop up a picture. This is Santa's Trips. It was a stitch along from Barbara Anna years ago, because I want to say I started this in like 2021, maybe 2022. My color is struggling without the sunshine, but we'll see. Hey, it's fine. I'm stitching this on 32 count Beach Brew from R&R Linen, which I'm really loving. And you know, you might notice in these blocks there's a very soft blue filling in the snow. I did not do that in this block because I kind of liked the lacy quality of it. There is another block down here that has some more houses, and I will either fill this in or leave this one without the blue fill-in so that it also has a lacy look, and this doesn't look so random. But I like how it looks without the stitching, actually. I don't know. So cute. That border is to die for. This is another one that should probably go in the border stack though, because if I could get, there's 3 more little cubes, shapes down here, scenes, and then the border. Like if I could even just get those little shapes. What is that shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 sides. Octagon? It's a weird looking octagon. Anyways. If I could get those in, then when Christmas time came again, I might make more progress more quickly. I don't know. It could happen. It could happen. Okay, I did not work on this year. Santa's House from the Fabulous House series. This was my inception point for joining this collection, we'll call it, a collecting of patterns. I did not start all of them as I ambitiously thought I would, but that's all right. They're in my stash. It'll be fun. Someday I'll start them. Started a couple of them. I loved stitching this one 2023, excuse me. I started at Christmas Eve 2023. Yeah, So pretty. I'm stitching it on a 28 count Lugana. The color is Macchiato, and it's a Bestitch Me. I was part of, in 2023, and then like half of last year, I was part of the Stitch Along, not Stitch Along, excuse me, Fabric of the Month Club, which was really fun. That was really fun. I miss it a little bit, but you know, it's okay. I have some beautiful pieces from that, so it's all good. And half of it I did the Lugana, and the other half I did linens. So you'll see a couple more of those as we go. Last Christmas one, it looks like, is Christmas Bells Sampler, which I adore. It is so, so beautiful. I'm stitching this on 28 count sand from Picture This Plus. And I forgot I need to turn this sideways. Here we are. So I added in the words, and I wound up having to, the border used to be almost half done. I had to pull it back up. There was an error. And after much vacillating, I decided it was important to me to fix the error rather than fudge it. So I did that like a good girl. And it's so beautiful. This is called for silks. And they're just luscious. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. All right. Once upon a time in November of 2024, I said, wouldn't it be cool if I pulled this out at the beginning of this month instead of waiting for Christmas, and finished it by Christmas and hung it on my wall? True story. Also, who was that crazy person? Because there is no way, unless I had stitched nothing else, I would have even gotten close. Crazy lady, that's what I am. Okay, so this is called Tonight We Fly by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I will pop in a picture of the cover photo. I have the back. So I buy a lot of patterns digitally because then I get them right away. and then I often don't print off the cover picture because that's a lot of ink. But here's my information sheet with some of my color subs, and I'm stitching it on this wild and crazy Aida, 14 count Aida that I dyed. It's gonna be fabulous. There's so much black down here. It's really going to, I feel like it's gonna calm the chaos a bit, you know? Oh, but it's so good. It'll be so fun. I did not work on this year. That's okay. I did a lot on other things. This is, I'll just show a tiny, tiny blurry picture there. Boltimore by Ink Circles. And I'm stitching it on Fox and Rabbit linen, 36 count baked clay. It's gorgeous. I wish I had more of this fabric, actually. I'm holding it the wrong way. There we go. Very, very, very pretty. I did wind up doing a couple of color subs because I purchased this in 2020 and it was very difficult that fall to get your hands on some, you know, well, frankly, a lot of supplies, as we know. And so they were just out. They just didn't have access to some of the flosses that were called for. So this is the black is Raven, I want to say, which is, I don't know if it'll show. Nah, it never shows in camera. But in person, it has this very subtle burgundy red undertone to it, which just felt, you know, vampire-y and spooky, so appropriate. And then I also couldn't get the called for arch color. You can get them now. And I actually bought a skein of the called for before I went further on this because I was like, maybe I'll like that better. I loved the sample. You can see it's a bit more kind of an antiqued gold look compared to my more bright. I don't know. I don't have words today. It's fine. Anyways, I've decided to go with this because I like it. But I didn't work on it this year. That's okay. All right, this one I almost pulled out because I saw everybody working on it, but then everybody was working on it, and sometimes when you see it a whole bunch, you kind of get your fill through that and then you don't stitch on it. So I started this back in 2017. Yes, because I was working at the quilt shop and I would stitch it in the mornings before going into work. Jack's Bash by Plum Street Samplers. You know it, you love it. I do not know what my fabric is. I know it's a 36 count. I'm fairly confident that it's a 36 count. And I suspect it might be a lakeside linen. I don't know though. I was not tracking information like that when I started this. I did not work on it this year or last year. But I do remember those beautiful autumn mornings sitting in my car, stitching on this before work. Oh, those are good times. Okay, I'll pull it out again one day. Okay, the Blue Flower Halloween Parade, which you might be able to see it better on the back. Oh, I'm so shaky today. I apologize. Stitching this on 35 count, which is an odd count, but there you go. Weeks linen, color is mocha, which is warm and scrumptious. And I did not work on it this year, but it's so cute. So fun. Oh, let me not show you. My goodness. It's totally fine. This one I'll have to pop up a picture of. It's called Black Cat Hollow. I believe it was a 3-part stitch along at some point with Barbara Anna. I bought it all as one pattern after the fact. And I haven't worked on it in a couple of years. But I love it. So one day I'll get back to it when the mood is right. I did do, it's charted in DMC, and I did swap out the green color. I don't know, it might be a Weeks Dye Work Oscar or something like that. I can look that up, but I don't have that information. Just on a gray linen. I would guess 28 count, just from the stitches. But it's cute, right? It'll be cuter when I make more progress on it. So funny. This year I definitely had the projects that felt good and I kind of sunk into them. It'll be interesting to see what projects I sink into next year. Okay, gotta move faster. This is Spell of the Moon by Blackbird Designs. It's in a book that I don't have right here, so I'll pop up a picture. I'm stitching it on 32 count Murky from Picture This Plus with the called for floss, 2/2, and I ran out of black coffee when I was stitching this, so that's as far as I got, and then I was moving on. So, but that's a solid start. That's very good. It's so cute. And it's fun to actually work on Murky because it's one of those fabrics you hear a lot about, you see a lot of people working on. You know that there's a lot of variation in the dye lots on it. In fact, this is called for Murky. Very different, right? From what you just saw. And it's great for this one, but it's fun to work on it because I've not before. Good story, Laura. Good story. This is my Halloween Quaker by Leela's Studio. I'm stitching it on a 14 count Aida that I dyed specifically for this. Tried to get little hints of purple coming through because I love purple at Halloween. And I made fantabulous progress on this. All I had was the moon, the broom, and the outline of a witch before. And I did all of this year. It hit the spot. It felt so good. It was interesting, engaging stitching. And don't you just love those candy corns? So much fun. Yeah, that one definitely got a lot of love this year. I'd say I'm at least a quarter done now. Well, yeah, probably just a solid quarter. But very, very fun. I love this one. Now you get to see the projects that took my attention, so I didn't put the attention on those other ones, the so sad neglected WIPs. This is Sleepy Hollow by Hello from Liz Matthews. I started it, I want to say 2 years ago, 2023. And this is where I am, almost 50% done. What did I do this year? I had a lot of little detail fill-ins to do. I worked some more on the border. I don't have the gold that goes in between the 2 rows of black, so I didn't do that. But I know I filled in all of these little black spots. I filled in faces, which were hollow before. Pretty sure I added a couple more leaves, and then I did the words. So not a ton, but you know, it's solid. It's good. I'm stitching this on a 32 count smoky white Belfast linen, which is basically vintage country mocha in a white smoke. So, and it's perfect for that project. Okay, this next one we'll take a picture, pop it up. It's the Crypted style from the Witchy Stitcher, which is one I pulled out this year and thought, oh, I should make good progress. I should at least get the border done on this. Did I get the border done? No. That's okay. I did get the border done on Chupacabra and the words. And I'm pretty sure I filled in the bottom of this border too. You got a couple days. Do I have fabric information on this? No. Again, this was before floss tube days, so I did not track. I did not track those things. But this is a border one, so this can go in my border stack. And actually, if we pull back, if I stop chattering and think about what sorting we're supposed to be doing, I might put this in the border stack too. So wouldn't that be great? Okay, this is Ode to Autumn by Tiny Modernist. It was originally in a magazine, Cross Stitcher magazine, I want to say. And I saw the Seattle Stitcher, Megan the Seattle Stitcher, stitching it, and she had dyed this stunning fabric. Mine never shows as blue in video as it does in person. Yeah. Anyway, so I got super inspired. I went and bought the digital pattern and hand dyed some 18 count Aida, and mine is more gray than hers is, but definitely still inspired by more of a spooky October night than not. And I did not work on it this year. So there you go. I didn't work on a lot of my autumn stuff. It was interesting. So 2023, I really beefed up my autumn WIP stash. Like, I started a lot of autumn things. This year, and Christmas things last year, actually. This year, I focused on summer projects and starting summer projects. So I have a very well-rounded seasonal rotation at this point. This is Flowers and Friends by Hello from Liz Matthews. It was originally a Patreon exclusive, but it is now out for the masses. I joined Patreon for a month just to get this when I saw the sneak peek of it, and I did all of that stitching last year and I didn't touch it this year. But it is cute. You know, it's not super, it's really more autumn than it is Halloween, even with the cobwebs. So I might pull this out earlier in 2025 and try to get some more stitching on it because it's cute. Gaia Earth Goddess by Bella Filipina. She's a looker. I did not work on her this year because they released a new witch and I had to stitch her instead, which you'll see next. But this is being stitched on Fortnite Fabrics. Mind blowing. It's a 32 count. And this is where I am. I think she'll be really cool. When there's a Karen Water Lily that does all of this wing twig work, and then is the bottom edge here. Oh, so pretty. But it really picks up these purpley brown tones in the fabric. I love her. She'll be gorgeous. She's got a lot of work yet to do. If you want to see more work on her, actually Andrew, the runner stitcher, is working on her right now and with more focus than I have given her. And she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Gem Pop. Okay. So this is the one that captured my attention this autumn. Belinda Botanica. She's so, so beautiful. Okay, she's really more cute than beautiful. Because if Gaia is beautiful, she's cute. Okay, she's lovely. Okay, she's all the above. Anyways, I love the pumpkins and the like poisonous mushrooms, and it's just so cute. She's just this little autumn witch in her garden with these like subtle spooky elements. It's just so cute. Anyways, and I had dyed some fabric. This is a 14 count Ada that I pretty much instantly knew I would put her on. So that was really fun. I did have to pull out all of these half stitches. Excuse me, wasn't too bad because it's half stitches, but in the pattern, it didn't specify what direction to put them, and I wasn't paying enough attention to the picture, to be honest. And I did them the opposite direction. You totally lost the image. So, word to the wise. Be mindful of what direction your half stitches go. Sometimes it doesn't matter. This time it did. All right, and I sent a picture of skittering, so excuse me again. Good girl. County Fair by Lavender Lace. Don't focus on me, focus on the picture. She's beautiful. I started her 2023 and just had a little bit of her sleeve and part of the beginnings of her apron. And this year she was one of those stitches that just felt good. And so I got a lot of stitching in on her. Kind of defined the edges of her apron there. Did all of that table work and started into her shawl, which is so beautiful. I love this one. It's on Vintage Country Mocha. And yeah, I love her. So, so beautiful. Ugh. Telling you guys, there's a lot here. Oh, I did it again. Okay. Curious Owl. This is one of, so if you're new to my channel, my mother scours the internet and finds kits for my birthday presents from around the world. Last time I asked her, because everybody always asks where does she get her kits, it's just the internet. I don't know. Some of them she sources through Etsy. She has a number of other sites that she goes on to that I can't remember. I'm pretty sure this one flew in from Belgium, though obviously it's originally in Russian. I replaced the fabric. The kit fabric was a stiff gray Aida, which I'm pretty sure I've overdyed at this point. So I kept a similar vibe, but I wanted to stitch it on linen. He's so cute. He's so cute. I didn't work on him this year. I pulled it out. It sat out with all of my selected WIPs, and it just didn't happen. So perhaps some other day he'll come out. But he's so cute. This is, I don't know where my information card yet, but I want to say, I think this is pewter by Picture This Plus. It's beautiful. And I think it was a really nice substitute. If I do say so myself. Okay, Earth Goddess. This is a Joan Elliot. In fact, I think this was my first Joan Elliot. I now have 2, maybe. This is my start. I don't know the name of the fabric. I want to say it's Lily or something like that. I don't know. I did not work on her this year. I don't know. Just didn't, but she's beautiful. I love her. I commune with her curly hair glory, and those butterflies are so cute, and the mushrooms, and the colors are always so much beautiful, so much more vibrant and beautiful in real life when you're actually stitching than pictures can convey, it seems. As good as pictures are now, they're still not what it is in real life. Okay, Feast of Friendship. I pretty much worked on the pumpkin this year, I think. Is that right? No, it wasn't the pumpkin. It was filling in the white of the vessel and the words. I'm pretty sure that's mostly what I did, and maybe some blue in the house. I started this in 2023. I was obsessed, and this year I was distracted, so. But I still love it. Oh, and the roof. I did a whole bunch in the roof. That's right. So I gave this some good time. I love it. I'm saving the fruit bowl for last because that's just going to be fun. Really, the focus next year will probably be getting that house, that beautiful, glorious beast of a house. Oh, that was weird. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. My hand just like cramped and like held in like that. Ooh, that didn't feel good at all. Okay. Do some more hand stretching, I guess. Okay, so dimensions. This is an old Wysocki kit that was a Christmas gift a number of years ago. I swapped out the Aida, which had a rust stain right in the middle of it, I went to my LNS and found a linen. This is Confederate gray, pretty sure. Yeah, Weeks linen, 32 count. So the same count as the original kit, but just a linen. And I've not given this really any attention for a couple of years. I love it. It will be so cute. I love the train. But yeah, just hasn't worked its way back into my rotation yet. So I actually have a couple of Wysocki kits that have been gifted to me. I'll share those in my next video, my normal, not a WIP Parade video. And yeah, I've got some goodies for that episode. That'll be really fun. Anyways, I have a couple more that will be starts this year. It's gonna be really fun. Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. This one, I was all gung-ho and enthusiastic about working on and making considerable progress this year. And then I ran into a DMC dye lot issue, which we'll see if it shows. So it's right here. This first chunk is the first dye lot, and then I started stitching in this, and it was so much more gray. And I mean, from a distance you can't tell, but up close in person, it's pretty dang obvious. So I ran out and bought 2 skeins of the color that does, I think it's number 7, that does all of these accents so that it will be consistent. 2 skeins will be more than enough. And I just need to rip out, I think it's this bottom section. I think the top section was the current dye lot, and that's, so I can keep that. But I need to pull this bottom part out. Kind of killed my joy. It's okay. It's not going anywhere. It'll be waiting for me next year. I'm stitching this on 32 count parchment by Fiber on a Whim. And I love it. It just feels so good because a lot of that green is still gonna show. It becomes the grass, the hills, the landscaping. Yeah, see, this, I'm excited about this one still. I love it. Just gotta get past my gru blah blah and take a drink. Okay, we're an hour in. This is probably gonna be a 2-parter, my friends. That's okay. Feature length presentation, Lord of the Rings style. Extended edition. Plum Street Samplers, Cinnamon Stars. This was a new start this year. And I started it on 36 count Prairie Grass by Seraphim Linens. And I'm stitching it 1/2. Woof. But fun also. Like, woof. But as soon as I stitched that little star in there, I could see the magic of what it's going to be. It's going to be so good. And I actually really loved stitching the grout that will be in between all these little stones. It's going to be so cute. So cute. So that was a new start this year, 2024. Okay, Thanksgiving Fairy. Mirabilia, Thanksgiving Harvest Fairy, excuse me. I started in 2023, but I ran into a color thing. So as you'll see, this is that parchment again. It's very light. Her bodice is very light. So I'm on the hunt. I think I may have found a good substitute, but I want something closer to the color you see in the picture, that lavender, as opposed to this almost white reading purple. It is purple, it's still purple, but it's barely purple. And because it is she is a harvest fairy, you know, I stitched the Halloween fairy, and it was the same thing where it's just time has changed the dye lots, and the current run is much lighter than the old run that the original model was stitched in. And it actually worked out really great in the Halloween one. I wound up loving it. It had this kind of Cruella de Vil striping black and white look, and it was great. So I started stitching, even though I'd kind of noticed it was lighter in the skeins, hoping for the same kind of magic to happen. And I'm just consistently unhappy with it. So I've been on the hunt for a replacement purple. I think I've found the right one, but it just didn't get any work this year because it would have started with ripping out. When I'm ready for it, I'll be ready for it, but I wasn't, so I didn't. Okay, Little House Needleworks, Autumn ABCs. I did the summer ABCs and started the needlework, which you'll see in a little bit. ABCs. They're so fun. I am collecting them all like Pokemons. This is my start. That's a solid start. That's almost half of it. Heck yeah. This is 28 count linen, picture this, plus fresco. And it's beautiful. And it's wide enough I could stitch spring down this side if it's the right color. I originally thought I would do winter on it. And you will see at the end, I think my winter stitches are at the bottom of the stack. But you'll see what I chose instead for that one, because it has begun. They're so much fun. Honestly, Little House Needleworks was one of my like happy places this last year because it's just comfortable, easy stitching. It doesn't require too much brain. And this really was a busy year. So, yeah, I did a lot of their stitches. Madame Chantilly, Celebrate Summer. I started this as part of Mania in 2023, Stitch Mania, which is start all the things in May. Oh! Very impressive. Does this count as a BS? Is that a BS? I think it kind of is a BS. I don't know. Maybe it's a little more than a BS, but it's like on the verge, so we might put it in that stack. I love the pattern though. I love the lighthouse. I'm a big sucker for lighthouses, the seagull, and what else is in there? I don't know. It's just darling. It's super cute. I did not work on it this year. A lot of actually, so it's been interesting as I went through and did like a light pressing of these things, of these patterns. Side note. I noticed that, so I did not participate in Mania in 2024. I did in at least 2021 and 2023. I may have done 2022 as well. I don't remember. But I'd done it for several years, and that's definitely a real quick way to up your WIP count. And I just don't, I've noticed, don't come back to the ones I start. It's super fun to start them, but then it's basically a started kit more than anything, which is fine. Doesn't bother me. But a lot of the Mania starts have not gotten a lot of attention again. So just an interesting notation for my brain to kind of log away. I did not do it in 2024, and I will not be doing, I won't be doing it in this year. In this year. I will not be doing it this year either. So this is Flag Flock. Plum Street Samplers. I started this in May this year. And it is being stitched on 32 count Feldspar by Picture This Plus, which is a little bluer than in the picture, but close. It's really, really pretty. Really pretty. That's a solid start. What a handsome sheep he is. Even if he's faceless. That one's fun. I'm excited to get back to that one. I've had this pattern for years, and that was one thing I did this year was I started a bunch of things that I've just been holding on to and loving and admiring, but not stitching. And that was really fun. I still have a bucket full of kits that I think will be my source for new starts for 2025. And that'll be fun. That'll be good. So this is Treasure Island. It was an Owl Forest embroidery stitch along in 2023. And I love it. It's so cool. I can't wait to get down to the big island at the bottom of it. I'll pop up a picture here. and clean my eye while you look at that because mascara, right? Makeup man. So this is my start. It's on coffee dyed even weave that I did. I'm pretty sure I had some kind of error up in the banner that stole my wind. But I'm doing a hand-dyed, over-dyed floss from Stash Conversion based on their flosses. So Owl Forest Embroidery dyes their own flosses. And I didn't want to buy, the floss, but I love the pattern. So I was like, I can make that happen from Stash. So this is my start. And yeah, it was really fun when I started it. I'll get back to it at some point. You'll notice though, we might be into, no, not quite. My stitch alongs, I always start very enthusiastically and I always fall off the bandwagon. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. This is a beautiful black and white picture. I'm sorry, I don't have a color picture. If I can find a color picture that I can like steal from the internet, I'll pop that up here. It's called Watercolor Landscape. It's stitched, the pattern is designed by Little Room in the Attic, which is a Russian designer who I really, really, really loved and bought a lot of her patterns from. I still love her patterns. It's not that I don't love her patterns. But they're more difficult to gain access to. She is selling on a different site now, different European site. Anyways, she's not on Etsy anymore. So I haven't purchased anything recently, but this was one of her charts. I've got a couple of them in my WIPs and they're beautiful. She has a really detailed eye in her stitches, and I think this is that 25 count or giant whatever Charles Craft again, which I found a stash of at some point. So my stitches, I don't feel like the coverage is what it could be, especially with blends and everything, but it's still lovely. Kind of a mountain scene with the water reflection and then some grasslands down below. And I'm over 50% of the way through this one, I would say. It's just a matter of pulling it out again. I did not work on it this year. That's okay. Sometimes this is another thing I noticed as I was pulling everything out. If the pattern has been discontinued or is no longer available, I feel bad sharing it with you guys because you can't get it if you want it. And I don't know, I just feel bad. So I haven't worked on any of those through 2024. I don't know. Maybe I'll get over it. Summer at the Shore by Cottage Garden Samplings. And that is my progress. This is on Mystery Linen. It's not really a mystery. I have it written down somewhere else. It's gorgeous though. Because I know I have something else being stitched on this as well. So if we come across it, maybe we'll get that information. Sorry. I'm excited to get into the lighthouse in that project. That'll be fun. I don't remember if I worked on that or not this year. I kind of got stuck in new starts this year in the summer. American Welcome is one of them. That pelican. Ugh, I'm gonna have to save it for last because I'm so excited about it. That and the lighthouse. They'll be my prizes for stitching scads of water. So much water. It's all good. So pretty. So this is my start. It's showing very yellow. It's a bit more, yeah, that's a bit better. Not quite as glowing yellow as that shows. It's still very strong, but it's pretty. What is my fabric? I'm gonna go into the Floss Tubers Hall of Shame because I can't remember all of the details. I'm pretty confident I'm stitching it with the called for flosses though. It's a 28 count and I want to call it Heritage, but I don't know if that's right. There's something else being stitched on that though. So maybe we'll come across that and it will have more information. I very often will buy a fat quarter of linen and cut it in half and get a couple projects out of it. So you'll usually see fabrics a couple of times. This is definitely going in the BS stack, the barely started. I started this on New Year's Eve 2023. It's a kit, beautiful kit, Letty Stitch, Watching the Sunset. Sorry, I didn't say that. It's so, so beautiful. I mean, these flowers, and she's sitting there with her dog. She's got more dogs. She's a dog gal and a lighthouse gal. I mean, my kind of people. This is my beautiful start. Are you impressed? I'm not here to impress people. That's going in the barely started for sure. I also want to pick like a full coverage every month that gets at least a couple days. Because I've got a few full coverages and they're gorgeous. But I did very little full coverage stitching last year, if any, honestly. This is Mermaid Lagoon, Satsuma Street. I started this for my niece. If I don't get stitching on it again, she will graduate from high school before I finish and not care about mermaids anymore. Anyways, it's very cute. It definitely took 3 restarts on different fabrics before I was happy with it. This is a 14 count Aida that I dyed. There, that's a bit better. It shows very, like the white, for some reason, which you don't see in person, shows a lot when you show it up close, but that's what it looks like. Very, very cute. Has like that light sunlight coming through the water kind of look. Yum. And the colors with Satsuma Street, she uses the most beautiful, vibrant, bright colors. They're so much fun to work with. I should probably pull that out this year. Or she legitimately will grow out of her love of mermaids. So this is an adaptation of Shores at Hawk Run Hollow. I made a copy of the picture and arts and crafts, cut and paste into a new layout because I decided I didn't want to do the entire pattern. Now, I wish I had decided this a couple months earlier because I completed this one the year I started it. And then I started this block because that's the way the pattern is originally laid out. I wish that this block was there. I think I'm going to just make a small out of it. And that'll be fun, and I'll still get to stitch it. I love that ship in a bottle kind of look. This is 36 count R&R Fog Lifter blend. And I'm stitching this with a mixture of cottons and silks from Stash. It's a conversion, all of my own making. I adore that first block. I definitely wanted the sea to be like a stormy March Oregon sea, because Oregon has my soul. The Oregon coast, rather, more specifically. Anyways, it's gonna be super cute, and I still like this block. It's gonna be great. That is my start. And makes it a much more achievable project. Yes. My brain is going in 10 different directions. This is going to go in the BS stack. Very small start. Cabbage Rose Seaside Manor by by the Bay Needle Art. Stitching it on a 30 count cocoa linen. I do not know the designer of, but there it is. I'm stitching it 1/2, which somehow works. It's pretty. It's really pretty seam. I really do like it. I did not work on this year. I started it in May 2023. I was excited to start it because I'd bought it that January when I was in Nebraska with my parents, helping them move. But it just kind of slipped in between the cracks this last year. So it'll definitely get some stitches this year because I love it. Okay, this one, Leave Nothing But Footprints by Emma Congdon. It comes from this book, and I want to stitch like more than half the projects in here, so I need to get my rear in gear. I started this on Earth Day 2023, and I did not work on it this year. It's another one that it just didn't happen. To be fair, I was moving interstate at the time that I would normally pull this out. So perhaps this year it will get more love. Solid start. I really enjoyed working on this one, actually. It's very interesting. It's a combination of really easy stitching and some blended confetti stuff, but it gives this beautiful, you know, ombre effect in the lettering, and beautiful. I love it. This is on a Bestitch Me Fabric of the Month. Let me see if I have the information. I thought I saw a card tucked in here. Yes. Ledger. 28 count Lugana. The color is Ledger by Bestitch Me. I love it. So pretty. Okay. Moving forward. How you doing? You hanging in there? Still having fun? We hope. Okay, the Blue Flower Butterfly Garden. This was definitely a mania start, I want to say in 2022. Barely anything. 2023, I added border and this butterfly, and I didn't work on it this year. But again, I was traveling and moving in spring, and where I'm a seasonal stitcher, by the time I got settled, it was summer. And so my spring stitching really was quite neglected this year. This is one I would really like to finish this year. I really like it, and I've seen, so Garden Party Warm by Satsuma Street. I've seen it finished in a pillow that echoes the shape of the border, and it's so cute. And I always thought that's how I would finish it, as just a little throw pillow. I was trying to do the Jody Rice method, where she does all of the stitching one direction, and then she's able to just come back and not think about the counting and anything, and just like fill in. And while that was a great idea, I think it's one of the reasons it kind of burnt out on me, because you essentially wind up stitching everything twice. And that just didn't work for me. I can definitely see the advantage, especially if you did the whole thing. Then you could be traveling and literally just pull colors and not have to refer to anything. And the second half would be really simple, easy, brainless stitching. But it just wound up not working for me. So I still have some remaining to do the second cross on. But I'm just doing the rest of it from this point forward, full X's all the way through. So it was an interesting experiment, though. I love trying new methods and different ways. If I hadn't done that, I never would have discovered that I am an enhanced stitcher. I don't care for hoops. I knew I never cared for hoops. It's one of the initial reasons I stopped cross stitching when I was a teenager. because I just found them cumbersome and uncomfortable and it just wasn't for me. But then when I found out you could stitch, cross stitch like you embroider, which I loved to embroider. I have a lot of half-finished embroidery projects and some finished ones, to be fair to myself. I'm a very productive crafter. But yeah, it was a game changer for me. So I love stitching in hand. But I never would have known that without the internet and people sharing that was a possibility and then trying it. So I love trying new things. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, right? Sweet Land of Liberty by Blackbird Designs book is fabulous. This was a new acquisition for me this summer. And I'm stitching Salute to Abigail, which is so beautiful. This was definitely the year I converted to loving samplers. Oh my goodness. The samplers I have to share, my friends, they are so pretty. So this one I started in, it's a very small start, right around the 4th of July. 36 count prairie grass from Seraphim Linens. I'm doing it 1/2 with the beautiful called for silks. Yes, I love that. That's so pretty. It'll be really fun to get more stitches on that this coming summer. So pretty. Am I holding these up long enough? I'm like trying to move quickly, but I also don't want to be like, you know, like a slideshow. I know I often am doing other things, so I appreciate it when floss tubers will hold it up for a few seconds so that you can, like I can be like, oh, it got quiet, they must be showing it, and I look up and see instead of just listening. Summer Quaker by Leela Studio. This was a stitch along in 2023 with Samantha, the Huga Stitcher. And she has made considerable progress on hers, and I have made okay progress on mine. I pulled it out a little bit this year. I'm pretty sure I did this. I definitely had to fix an error down in this border. There was a counting thing that happened, but I'm stitching it on sand, I think. Yes, 28 count sand from Picture This Plus. It'll make it big, but it's beautiful. And I am subbing the occasional, I'm mostly stitching it with the called for DMCs, but subbing with the occasional subtle over dyed. So you can kind of see in my blue, my navy here, there's a little bit of variegation. And then in my lighthouse, there's a little bit of movement that just created a little bit more dimension. But the rest of it's the called for DMCs because they're gorgeous. The palette is really beautiful for this project. So, fun. This will definitely get more attention this coming summer as well because I love it. I think it's just beautiful. Yes. Okay, this is the project that had my heart in August. Estate or Summer by Sarah Guermani. She has an Etsy shop. I want to say she's Italian or I think it's Italian. Don't quote me on that. But I love, love, love her charts. I've admired them for years now, and she was having a sale, and I bought a couple of them and had to start it ASAP. This is my start. Oh, it's magical. That borders, man, they can make or break a piece. This is 28 count fresco from Picture This Plus, and I started this July 1st, it looks like, I guess. And a lot of my patriotic stitching suffered because I just wanted to stitch this. It's so beautiful though. Another example of the real stitching, like the picture not doing it justice. I love it. I'm trying to remember which other ones I bought. I think I bought 2 or 3 of them at the time because it was a good enough sale. Because these patterns typically run close to $30 and they were like 15 or something like that. And I was like, when is that going to happen again? I don't know. I think I bought a winter one, maybe the spring one, or is it the quilting one? Pretty sure I got 3 at the time. Anyways, I love them. Delightful to stitch on. Oopsie. This I started with my sister. Summertime Magic. I had just finished, so this is from Flossie Fox Shop on Etsy. She has a great Instagram account as well, and I had done this like a little spring strawberry cottage scene, and it was so much fun that when my sister started this one, I was like, oh, I want to stitch it too, and that's my start. A weird snake dragon that looks like nothing yet. It will be a dragon. And I thought it would be a good one for the Year of the Dragon Sal, again with Samantha the Huga Stitcher. But I had fun starting it and then didn't do anything else with it. So there's that. It'll get more stitches. It will. Okay, this was a stitch along with Alex of Salix Stitches on Instagram and Andrew the Runner Stitcher on both FlossTube and Instagram. Comfort Lighthouse, and it was a Let Your Lighthouse Shine Sal, so you could pick any lighthouse, but the 3 of us were all stitching this pattern, and Andrew has finished his because he is lightning. And it's gorgeous, so go check it out. This is how far I made it, and I'm fairly tickled with my progress. It's not a finish, but honestly, the lighthouse is a beast. So having everything but the windows done on that feels pretty dang good. I am using an overdyed conversion from my stash. It calls for MPI silks or DMCs. And so I didn't have or want to use those, so I did my own thing. But in keeping with the original colors, generally speaking. So, yeah, it's really fun. I'm doing that. It's 1/2. This is a 36 count. Oh, here it is. Dune by Fiber on a Whim. So, it's not going to be very big. There's just like a little bit down here and it kind of rectangles off over here. Yeah. Oh, so fun. That'll be a fun one. That's a lot of stitching in that though. Despite its petite size, there's a lot of stitching there. So looking at that, I can see why projects like this next one didn't get any stitching. So this is Hive Rules. I started it in, I want to say 2022. Yeah, August of 2022. And it is delightful. Seraphim Linen, 32 count, Sunflower Fields is the fabric. It's very different from the original, but I love it. Let's see if I can get a good... It's very warm, which I love. And I didn't work on this past year. I think I got the first 2 chunks done the first year I worked on it, and then 2023 I did that. And I haven't worked on it again. It goes pretty quick when you actually do work on it though. It's not super dense stitching, so you know, one of these days I'll get a bee in my bonnet. Pun intended. And I'll I'll whip it out. Okay, this was another one that took some of my energy this summer. High Tide. I found this while I was in Florida in March with my in-laws. And it's my first Rosewood Manor pattern, and I saw the sample at the store and absolutely fell in love. And I just said, I want that, everything just that way, which I don't normally do. Normally I'm like, oh, that's a great starting point. I'll do my own thing. This one, I want it just like that. It was so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So this is the called for fabric and floss. It is Krynic heavy, which you can actually see. Pretty. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty. It's so much fun to stitch it. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but I really enjoyed what I did. Isn't she lovely? Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I want to say I did at least a page finish. Try to do this without showing chart. No, it's kind of scattered. That's okay. Anyways, delightful. Absolutely love it. It's stitched 2/2. Again, called for floss and fabric. This fabric is called, if inquiring minds want to know, sorry, chart. Midnight Mermaid linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. So it's very unique. It's very cool. I love it. I'm starting to kind of get this vibe of what I'll be working on come future seasons. Okay, so this will be a real quick series of the Tiny House, or Tiny Town, excuse me, by Heart and Hand. I have 3 of them here that are in the works. And I started, this isn't a series, it's one of those series that I was like, oh, that's cute, but I'll probably never stitch it. Until I did, because I wanted to stitch something Valentine's Day, so we may as well start there. Of course, I have things stacked backwards for that, but... So I wanted to stitch the Valentine's one, and then that was so much fun. It was so delightful and quick that I just fell in love, and I was like, okay, I want to do them all. I want to do them all. So that was my Valentine's stitch. It is complete. There were some color conversions just because I didn't have them. I've been trying really hard to use my stash. That will continue this year. With the occasional supplementation. This is the beginnings of blooming Tiny Town. And then I moved, which just takes every brain cell and energy cell you have left. Especially when you move as quickly as I did, it was chaos. This is the beginning of patriotic Tiny Town. And last but not least, this is Seaside Tiny Town. So pretty. I'm pretty close on this one. I bet I could finish that this summer. So yes, question. Has she done a St. Patrick's Day Tiny Town? Because I feel like that should happen. In my humble opinion. And I also love the autumn. The turkeys in the Thankful Tiny Town are hilarious and adorable. I love the Halloween Tiny Town. She has a winter one that just came out and a Christmas one. So there are oodles more to do as the seasons come and go and I start finishing those suckers off. Such fun. This is another little room in the attic. Window garden. Beautiful. Backstitch heavy. Highly detailed. But so, so beautiful. I did a small start on this in 2022. Is that right? That's right. Siding, beginning of the window, and some plants. Not a lot. But the colors are delightful. They are cheerful and clean, clear colors. It's just, what I've done was lovely. This is just an ivory Lugana, it looks like, even weave. Generic, functional, lovely. Neutral background because there's so much going on. I'd like to pull that one out again in spring. Like I said, I didn't get a lot of spring stitching done. We traveled in March, we moved in April, and it's summer. Okay, this is a kit I started years ago. I have all 4 of the tiny petite lighthouses. I love them. I've stitched one to completion, and then I started this one, and it was going swimmingly until I got into a section that required 4 strands of thread going through this 18 count Aida. Super stiff. It's part of the magic of dimensions kits is the varying quantity of threads to create said dimensions. But at the time I was struggling with my hands. I worked in quilt shops for almost 20 years, and moving bolts with your hands for that long, gripping, I just really was struggling with kind of grip strength and weakness and pain, frankly. So I stopped working on this. I would like to try it again because I love the series. I always dreamed of having all 4 of them done. That's why I bought them. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know. See what we'll see. That's that one story. So I haven't worked on it in 3 years because of that. But I also haven't, let's see, this will be it's been 2 years almost. Wow, 2 years. No, it's been 2 years since I left that store. So hopefully my hands recovered a little bit, right? All right, another one of my mom's kits from the world. This is called Umbrella for Owl. It's delightful. Another little curious owl. This is my progress on it. So cute. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a 3-hour video. Yeah, we're definitely cutting this in half. We're getting there. We're getting there. I can start to see the edges of samplers and my fancy ladies, and that's really, it's like samplers, fancy ladies, and kind of my winter stuff that I've pulled out for currently. Anyways, this is very cute. I did switch out to a white linen of equal count size, which it doesn't say what that is on this picture. Oops, upside down. Anyways, and it just makes for comfortable stitching. I have found with kits that I like to do that when they're not full coverage, just because oftentimes they have blended colors. Sometimes they go up to 3 strands or more. And I wonder at times if I had switched to, even if I'd kept it small, if I'd switched to an even weave or a linen, would this have been would it have come to the full stop that it did? Impossible to know. Perhaps it would have been the same situation, but I don't know. I also enjoy giving projects kind of my own little spin. So switching out for a linen is fun for me, but it also gives me Aida that I can practice dyeing with. So let's be honest, that's part of it too. This is the Glad Sun by the Blue Flower. I love her. She is so pretty with those fancy birds and beautiful flowers. Oh, I love it. I started this as a Mania start in 2023. I'm stitching it on Sprite. Picture This Plus Sprite, a 36 count 2/2. And it looks like there was some kind of error at some point because I can see holes where stitching used to be. But apparently I have fixed said error, so that's a good thing. It's so pretty. I love, woo, our lighting just changed in a big way. We'll see how long it lasts. Anyway, so here is my start. All the green, none of those pretty colors yet. That's okay. It's so pretty. Sprite is such a pretty, soft, lilac colored fabric. It's a color, but it's very neutral. This was a small start. I want to say this is 2022, maybe 23. No, it might have been 23. Hello Spring by Cottage Garden Samplings, and stitching it on a scrap of something. And I don't know why I didn't go any farther. It's not a big project. It would probably be a pretty quick finish if I just focused on it. But very pretty. I'm doing it with the called for colors, which are, contrary to most pictures, a bit dustier than they appear in the picture, which is interesting. Very interesting. All right. You're a good girl. I know, this is a long one, huh? The like sleepy, judgmental look she just gave me. Greenhouse from the Fabulous House series. Could you hear that sigh? The drama. Oh my goodness. What was I saying? Okay, so I started this when it came to me. I think I skipped starting the second one, which was the castle, and then I did this one, and then I'm pretty sure I fell off the bandwagon for the rest of the series and just collected the patterns. This was a piece of Lunar Moth Lugana from Bestitch Me, part of that Fabric of the Month I was part of. And I loved kind of the icy nod, but kind of transitioning into spring, because I feel like that's what this is. Like there's snowflakes in the sky. You've got your snow, what are those called? Snow drops? Snow, somebody will know. So you've got like this nod to winter, but then in the greenhouse, in the protection of the warmth, are these beautiful flowers. So I wanted to have kind of like that icy feel still, so it's still very light background without being gray, but then had to be dark enough that all that beautiful white would show. Anyways, why we do the things we do. It's very pretty. This is a fun one to work on. Frankly, just the stitching of the greenhouse itself was very enjoyable. Just that lacy, interesting shapes. Each stitch builds something beautiful. Okay, this one I almost didn't share. So I've done 2 full-scale WIP parades, so the whole caboodle WIP parades so far on my channel, and they're all very long, as I've said, but you will have seen this one. There will be other projects that I have not finished that you will also not see, and they're not necessarily totally UFO'd. It's more like they've been put into cold storage, because I still might want to finish them sometime, but I don't have any interest in them at this moment. So a few things will not be here, and this almost made it, not for lack of interest, but because I started it on a 36 count, stunning, beautiful linen. I have over a page finished. This is Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery, and I started up in this corner. and I'll show it to you. So I started at 2 over 2. I had not done very much 36 count stitching at this point. This was in 2020. And it's beautiful. It's fine, full, and fat, but I also am struggling as I look at it now with the way my stitches lay. It's not quite as smooth. And frankly, for most fabrics, there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, I typically choose 1 strand over 2 for 36 count in my current projects. And I like how that looks. I like how it lays. Occasionally, like with my Sugar Plum Village, I did a sample swatch in the corner and I wound up choosing 2 strands so that the white would show more. It needed to be fine, full, and fat to show effectively. But this, there's high contrast. I don't know that there's really, I guess the angel's wings are white. I guess there are a couple of purple blossoms that I haven't gotten to yet, but I have a full, is this a full yard? Full half yard. It's a fat half. That's what it is, because there's my selvage. So it's a fat half. This is vintage Lakeside Linens, French lilac. I had no idea what I was buying at the time. Lakeside Linen, vintage French lilac. I was doing some maths, and I think if I pulled this part out, there is enough fabric to start it over going this way, if I chose. The dilemma is it worth it? Would it be, I don't know. You guys tell me. What's your thoughts? Because ultimately I'm going to make my own decision, but I'm open to thoughts and opinions. Do the stitches lay pretty enough to keep going with 2 strands? Or is it worth starting over? I don't know. I love the fabric. For a long time, that was my biggest hesitation, was I didn't know, I hadn't done the measuring and counting and stuff. I didn't know if it would fit, and I didn't want to stitch it on anything else. I wanted to be on this. I love this soft, beautiful lilac. Anyways, I don't know. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts, my friends? Because that has been on a firm pause for a solid year or 2 because of this conundrum. So it would be great to resolve it one way or another, and then either slot it for a restart or maybe start a motif a week kind of thing where I could just start making regular progress on it. Okay, my friends, it has officially been determined that this will be split up into a 2-parter. So this is the end of part 1. Thank you so much for starting this adventure with me of going through all of my WIPs, my mountain of beautiful projects that are so much fun. I am at this point in my little world, I'm done. I'm not going to tell you how long it took. You'll figure it out. It's all good. Oh, my throat is sore. It's good. Grace is ready to leave the room. Aren't you, baby? Grace, come say hi to the people. Say hi. Hi. She's been so patient and perfect. You're such a good girl. Yes. Okay, off. Okay, off the mountain. Good girl. All right, on that note, thanks for hanging in there. Part 2 should be up. I'll upload them the same day, just in 2 parts. And yeah, on to more. There's so much to see. I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.